Recording.
So the first budget transfer is a request from my office. I'm seeking to transfer $984 from our contracted services account to our training fund to cover training opportunities for employees and pushing professional development for all employees from our administrative assistant all the way up. And thankfully, our team has been taking advantage of those professional development opportunities. So the funds will be used to cover those expenses. Any questions? The next request is from the budget department, seeking to transfer $200,000 from the retirement account to the New York State Employee Retirement System account to cover statutorily required pension contributions on December 15th. We have been in communication with Gideon about this request. The impetus for this request is given the changes being made to salaries across the board for city employees. We now need to make this contribution to the New York State Employee Retirement System. Since there have been so many salary increases post the equity pay study. Any questions about that? The next request is from BGS, seeking to transfer $8,000 from their other equipment account to the contracted snow removal account to cover Zone E retainer for her landscape. So you all may recall last year, BGS instituted a new practice where we now have vendors for a retainer. And so the this amount that we see here for $8,000 is to cover the retainer cost for the month of December. So we should see additional costs for January, February, and subsequent winter months. Any questions about this cost or item? Okay. Next request also from BGS seeking to transfer $111,000 from multiple accounts. Those accounts include contracted services in the amount of $100,000. Supply of materials / maintenance of streets in the amount of $5,000, and supply of materials / waste collection in the amount of $6,000. Those funds would then in turn be transferred into 3 separate accounts. The first is motor vehicle expense in the amount of $60,000, other equipment in the amount of $12,000, and supply of materials / capital field in the amount of $39,000. The last 2 accounts here are specific to Capitol Hills, and the motor vehicle expense is not related to Capitol Hills. I just wanted to note that. So the purpose again is to cover motor vehicle expenses, which is self-explanatory. We need a new heater at the golf course, in the maintenance shop, and then also fertilizer for the golf course. The next request from BGS is seeking to transfer $15,000 from the supply materials account to contracted services to cover a door install by the Center for Security and additional project at 200 Henry Johnson. Do you get clarity on, no? Okay, so we reached out to DPS to get further clarity on what projects entail. So we have not heard back as of yet, pretty broad terms. We just wanted to have additional clarity in case people had questions. So today, at the moment, no clarity on that. The next request is from the fire department seeking to transfer $597 from the contracted services account to office equipment to cover outstanding 2022 invoices. The next request from fire is seeking to transfer $20,000 from their heavy equipment account to apparatus parts / repairs to cover outstanding 2022 invoices. The next request also from fire seeking to transfer a total of $44,600 from 3 separate accounts. And the last account is on the next page, page 2 or 4. No. Those funds were then in turn transferred into 3 separate accounts. The first, other equipment in the amount of $34,600, vehicles in the amount of $5,000, and uniforms in the amount of $5,000. Those funds being transferred into EMS expense in the amount of $24,600, supply materials in the amount of $10,000, and apparatus parts here in the amount of $10,000. Again, the purpose to cover outstanding invoices for 2023. Before we transition to the next item, next one. All right. I have a question for you. Sure. We had an item on the agenda, where, your department was seeking to transfer $15,000 from materials to contracted services. The description included a project or projects for 200 Henry Johnson.
That's correct.
Can you elaborate on what you mean by project?
It's the 200 Johnson Boulevard, the neighborhood education unit that the mayor had a got there for yesterday. We're building the offices.
Okay.
DGS is saving probably $66 quite a month by doing it in-house as opposed to hiring out our central maintenance group out there working on it.
So renovation on the building.
Renovation on the building, yeah, building offices, putting walls up, doors, windows, things like that.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions? All right, we'll update the agenda to reflect that. Okay, next request from the law department seeking to transfer $8,000 from contracted services into 2 separate accounts, miscellaneous in the amount of $3,000 and fees and services in the amount of $5,000 to cover invoices for the remainder of the year. And then we have a few from the water department. The first is a transfer request in the amount of $15,000 from overtime / sewer maintenance to overtime / source of supply to cover overtime for the remainder of the year. The next request for water is a transfer request in the amount of $30,000. That money would be moved from contracted services / source of supply into contracted services special items to fund the lead service line replacement grant for the remainder of 2022. The next request from water seeking to transfer $36,000 from 2 separate accounts into 1. The first account is supplies and materials / admin in the amount of $25,000. Second, supplies, materials, meter repair in the amount of $11,000. Those funds will then be transferred into supplies, transmission, and distribution to cover replacement of PRV, so pressure reducer valve from Ross Valve, which is the vendor. The next request from water is a transfer request in the amount of $119, which will be transferred from 2 accounts into 1 account. The first is contracted services in the amount of $79,000 and vehicles in the amount of $40,000. Those funds will then be transferred into supplies, transmission, and distribution to cover the replacement of pipes and fittings used to fix the break So there was a break, in the transmission main, and funds, because of the emergency nature of this item, funds were used to cover, the material costs, and so these funds in turn would then be used to replace the funds that were used for those supplies. Any question for the water department? The next request is from the police department, seeking to transfer $38,000 from vehicles to other equipment to cover the purchase of physical fitness or physical fitness equipment for our police officers. The next request from APD is requesting the amount of $58,000. Those funds will be transferred from vehicles to telecom communications to replenish the telephone account and cover upcoming charges. I believe that account is in the negative. So it is to bring that account back to black. The next request is from police seeking transfer of $140,000 from vehicles to motor vehicle expenses to cover repairs of fleet vehicles. Any questions? We're going to move on to increase appropriation items. We have 3. The first is from the budget department. So this increased appropriation is in the amount of $2.85 million. Again, this is related to the agenda item we saw under the transfers. As a result of the salary increases across the board, we need to invest in the pension accounts. So let me just start over here on the expense side. So those funds would be coming out of 3 separate accounts. The first is retirement / police in the amount of $1.6 million, roughly $1.6 million. Retirement / fire in the amount of $600,000, and New York State Employee Retirement System in the amount of $690,000. So we will see those funds coming out of those accounts, and then an increase on an increase in the sales and use tax account as a result.
Are we going to be whole for the rest of the year? Is that anything to help?
Yes, that will allow yourself to make the pension payment on December 15th. Yes.
Good.
So for this, are we saying that sales and use tax is up 2.8 compared to budgeted amounts?
I would say it's going to be up much in excess, probably closer to 6 to 7 million over budget.
I'm sorry,
I was asking, so they're adding 2.8 to the sales and use tax compared to budget amount, and he's saying that it could go to 6 to 7 million over budget, and that's being able to fund the increase in the retirement expenses. So that's just interesting. That's good. That's good for us.
Any other questions regarding this item? The next item is from the fire department. The fire department has received a FEMA grant in the amount of $515,200 in 2020, and they received $256,990 in 2021 to help fund critically needed resources to equip and train emergency personnel, enhance efficiencies, and support community resilience. So you have the grant total under the description. And so for this particular item, the fire department is looking to spend $532,237 of those grant funding, and in turn be reimbursed by FEMA for that same amount. The next,
Sorry, one question on that. Do you know if they're going to use the remaining balance of the funds anytime soon received? Looks like they got about 770 roughly, 760 or so. They're using 532.
I think they already have enough appropriation to expend. Yeah, the difference, the increase in appropriation of 500 is the additional they need to send the funds out the door.
Okay.
And just to follow up on that, the chief did share a breakdown of the federal dollars that were given, how much has been spent, the city match, so I can share that breakdown with the rest of the board.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Patrick. I failed to mention that the city has to manage some of those funds.
Okay.
So we'll get that information out. The last item is from the police department. The police department, we did grant in the amount of $301,359 from the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services to prepare for, respond to, and recover from potential terrorist attacks. They received grant funds in the past. The funds will be used to purchase equipment for the project. So we're looking to see $42,500 spent out of the other equipment accounts. And as a result, we'll see an increase in that same amount in the New York State Homeland Security account. Any questions? Legal settlement. The first is a legal settlement in the amount of $40,000 to a poor gentleman by the name of Mr. Jonathan Robinson, and I apologize if I mispronounced that or incorrectly pronounced that last name. So apparently from what we've been informed of, Jonathan was skateboarding on our public sidewalk. He broke his collarbone, and the sidewalk was being worked on by the water department. And so based on negotiations and communication with the city, the settlement will be in favor of Mr. Robinson for $40,000. The next item is a settlement in the amount of $141.75 for Lexus Shaw. Ms. Lexus Shaw, her vehicle was towed. It was a proper tow, and so that money will be paid out to her as a reimbursement. Any questions about legal settlement? If there are no questions, may I request that we accept the agenda as is?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor. Council President Ellis, second, City Treasurer Sean. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion on the floor to adjourn the meeting. We have a second from our budget director. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. This concludes today's board assessment and enforcement meeting. Thank you so much for your time, for the transition to our policy.
All right, so today's date is Tuesday, December 6th. We'd like to call to order the Board of Contract and Supply. Present, we have Gideon Grande, Budget Director, Darius Shanfar, Treasurer, Brett Williams on behalf of Marisa Franchini, Corp Counsel, Randy Milano, City Engineer, Frank Zioli, Deputy Commissioner of the Department of General Services. We have a pretty lengthy agenda today. The first item is from the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for bids on behalf of the Albany Water Board for the sodium hypochlorite for the Albany filtration plant. Bids to be received at a regular meeting scheduled for Tuesday, December 20th. The next item is also from the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for bids on behalf of the Water Board for the purchase of hydrated lime for the Fiora Bush filtration plant to be opened at a regular meeting scheduled for Tuesday, December 20th. Also, on behalf of the Albany Water Board, resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for the purchase of concrete for the Albany Water Department. That proposals to be received Tuesday, December 20th. Also, on behalf of the Albany Water Board, Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for sodium permanganate for the Alcove Reservoir. That proposals to be received and opened at the Tuesday, December 20th meeting. Also, on behalf of the Albany Water Board, resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for tree maintenance and emergency work. Said proposals to be opened at the December 20th meeting. Also, on behalf of the Albany Water Board, resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for bids for fine and coarse aggregates. Said proposals to be opened at the Tuesday, December 20th meeting. The Department of General Services offered the following: resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for welding and fabrication for heavy and light equipment. Said proposals to be received at a regular meeting scheduled for Friday, January 6th of 2023. The Department of General Services offered the following: resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for heavy highway construction supplies, tools, and equipment. Said proposals to be received Friday, January 6th, 2023. Also, on behalf of the Department of General Services, resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for vehicle equipment, hydraulic pumps, hoses, fittings, and related parts. Said proposals to be received at the Friday, January 6th of 2023 meeting. Also, on behalf of the Department of General Services, resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for landfill gas blower skid parts, preventative maintenance and repair. Said proposals to be received Friday, January 6th, 2023. Also, on behalf of the Department of General Services, resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for bids for annual spring, summer, and fall, annual flowers for spring, summer, and fall season. Said proposals to be received January 6th. Now we're transitioning into our openings. You want South End first? We're doing a South End connector phase 2. So the first opening is for the South End connector phase 2. Only one submission. Newcastle Paving.
Bid bond is enclosed. The total base bid is $664,000. Total alternate bid is $458,000. Total alternate for number 2 is $348,000. Total alternate for bid 3 is $100,000.
Is the next one is the biodegradable yard waste bags. We received one submission from Dano Enterprises.
$622 for 1,000 bags. Total is $111,960.
Six, 22 for 1,000.
Yes.
Cheaper for people to buy them as well.
Let's see, no bid bonds. I will double check that.
Frank, was there a security for that project? No, okay, perfect. So you did. The next item was Kubota Equipment Maintenance and Repair, and it looks like we received no submissions. None. The landfill leachate and sewer line cleaning. We received one from Corbett Industrial Cleaning Services.
Okay, so the total is $94,250.
I'm sorry.
$94,250.
No security.
No.
Now we're up to landfill recycled daily cover. We received 2 submissions for that one. Carver Companies.
Okay, so price per ton is $5.95. And no bid security for that one. Correct?
No,
Livonia General Contractors,
Price per ton is $6.86.
there were no submittals for towing heavy and light vehicles. No submittals for more bark equipment parts, preventative maintenance and repair. And the next item is offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the contract to purchase polyaluminum hydroxychlorosulfate be awarded to Holland Company for the unit price of 30 cents per pound as listed in their bid open November 22nd of 2022.
All right, the following resolution was offered on behalf of Albany Water Board. Resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes award of the Albany, resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes award of the Albany Water Board water and supply contract to the following bidders for the amount submitted on their bid dated November 8th, 2022. FW Web for Group 1, Group 2, Group 7, and Group 8. Core and Main for Group 3, Group 4, Group 5, Group 6, and Sewer, and Ferguson Water Works for Group 9. The following resolution was offered on behalf of Albany Water Board. Resolved that the Albany Water Board extend the following contracts for one additional year under the same terms and conditions specified in the existing contracts. The vendor is Cummings for, did I read them all down?
No, with the permission of the board, we waive the reading of the individual contracts, but they will be recognized in the final agenda.
So committed.
The Department of General Services offered the following. Resolved that the city of Albany extend the following contracts for one additional year for the same terms and conditions applicable to the existing contracts.
They're the same carries for those 27 contracts.
and it's not.
One quick question on the draft that went out, there was an extension for still singing.
I never received the resolution for that one.
Okay, all right. Thanks.
So that concludes the items that we have before us for today's meeting of the Board of Contract and Supply. Is there a motion? Darius motion, Zioli seconded. To accept the agenda, is there a motion to, all those in favor? All right. Is there? All right. Everyone's in favor of the adjournment. Meeting has concluded. Thank you all.
Thank you.
What's-